Okay, we're getting ready to go here, Leonard. It's on.
Okay, hi there, everybody. Welcome to Monday. But that's not happening yet, okay?
Welcome to Monday.
What is today?
What do you think, Dave? Why am I sitting next to you?
I just woke up. I don't know.
Lenny was taking a nap.
Taking a nap, so today's Friday, right? No, seriously, I don't know today.
You don't know what day it is?
No.
Good Lord.
Today's
Sunday, fool.
Oh, that's right. It has to be Sunday. Okay, it's Sunday. And
great. This show's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be greater than you ever heard. So tonight's going to be Sunday, and by the way, the Philly game has been moved to 6:05.
Why did they say allegedly to avoid the rain delay?
I don't know why.
What, they think there's like some secret weapon reason?
Might be. I have no idea.
Anyway, the Phillies game's been moved to 6:05 today.
Yeah, so you want to...
The Diamondbacks will play tomorrow in New York, and the White Sox series has been moved back a day and will be played Tuesday through Thursday in Chicago.
That's right. There's the premier is here. Danny Fuller, Rotorius, Tommy Johnston, triple play, the whole deal. James Caplion, good morning to you all.
Now, the Diamondbacks will likely secure an extra draft pick next year, provided that Corbin Carroll does, in fact, win Rookie of the Year. They're set also to land a Comp A pick, which is pick number 32. And like the Orioles, Arizona will see 3 picks inside the top 35 next year.
Pretty good. Now, I know you don't want to talk about this, but Giancarlo Stanton...
Why do I not want to talk about it?
Because it's ridiculous. You know, Giancarlo Stanton was interviewed, and they talked about the fact that he described his performance this season as terrible. That was a description of by Giancarlo Stanton of Giancarlo Stanton. And he says there's a lot of things I've got to work and adjust on, but he's not just showing up, not working hard. And I don't know what to tell you, so let me just say this.
He tells to the media, there's a lot of things I've got to work and adjust on, but if you guys think I'm showing up and going out there and not working, then I don't know what to tell you. You could tell he's very frustrated with the Vultures.
SM King Turd, good morning to you, and nice to see you here
Stanton
this morning.
Frustrated with the media Vultures.
Yeah, frustrated with the media, so if Stanton had himself on a fantasy team, would he drop him right now? All right.
Well, I don't know. I didn't have him on my team, so I don't know what he did. But obviously, I think he's batting horrible.
Rafael Devers versus the leading Cy Young candidates, Garrett Cole and Blake Snell, is 6 for 8, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs this year.
Devers versus Snell, Cole, Justin Steele, Strider, and Wheeler, Sonny Gray, and Gaussman. He's 15 for 25 with 5 home runs, 4 doubles, a 1.360 slugging. He is crushing everybody. The only Cy Young contender to contain Rafael Devers was Logan Webb, who he faced for 3 at-bats. And he went 0 for 3.
So it's interesting that the only Major League Baseball teams who have more home runs, now listen to this, they have more home runs than doubles this season. The only teams who have more homers than doubles this season are the Atlanta Braves and the New York Yankees. Otherwise, everybody else has more home runs than doubles. How about that?
We talked about Acuna yesterday, this tidbit is a little
You can talk about Acuna every single day.
Yeah, but we talked about this in extensive, serious way yesterday.
40th home run to go along with 68 stolen bases. The most stolen bases a player had in a 40 home run season was Alex Rodriguez back in 1998.
And he did it with 46 homers.
That's
so
right.
Can Acuna get 46, or no, can he get 7 more homers to beat A-Rod for the most stolen bases to go along with 40 home runs?
And even talking about RBIs out of the leadoff spot in the season. Mookie Betts.
105
RBIs.
in the leadoff spot.
From the leadoff spot, okay? Charlie Blackmon had 103. Acuna had 101. Darren Erstad had a great year. Remember Darren Erstad?
Now look, it says that the most RBI out of a leadoff spot so far is Mookie Betts this season with 105. But Ronald Acuna is right on his tail with 101. So if Acuna gets 4 more RBIs from the leadoff spot before the season ends and Mookie doesn't get more. Anyway, he's only 4 RBIs behind Mookie Betts for the most RBI out of a leadoff spot in a season since 1920.
Good morning to Leonard Donaldson.
And that's only because RBI became a stat in 1920.
Good morning to Mal Pal. Good morning to Mitchell Harston. Good morning to Triple Play. Nice to have you all.
SM King Turd is Jonah Heim's hype man.
Yeah.
He's going to crack 100 RBI after missing a lot of time this year.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, Darren Erstad was when he was with the Angels was okay. He was more than okay. Somebody else was more than okay. Now at the beginning of the year, I always tell you when I'm right, when I'm wrong. But Jordan Montgomery has turned out to be a terrific pitcher for fantasy baseball, just as I expected. He has gone 7 innings in each of his last 3 starts. He's allowed 1 run during that span. So Jordan Montgomery, who has had a very interesting season next year, he's going to be a very interesting pitcher to have, and I'm going to go after him. He's probably going to be around the $14, $15 pitcher. Okay, that's my opinion. And I think I'm going to go after him for that. Jordan Montgomery.
JD Martinez, since returning from the injured list, 14 games, batting .367 with 6 home runs and 18 RBI.
Wow, he has been a forgotten man, but he has come back. And you know what? He has come back to have a really good season, but I think he's going to get buried next year. So he's not the kind of player that I'm going to draft next year, but he's had a great season. As K. Brian Hayes.
You like him next year?
Oh, I like K. Brian Hayes this year. He came into the season with 18 career home runs in 1,051 plate appearances. He has 15 this year in 497 plate appearances so far. Hope everyone doesn't believe that next season Brian Hayes is going to be a star.
I doubt it.
Because I'm going to go get him. And what about the Pirates? Their 9-run comeback in the largest comeback win in franchise history.
Since 1882.
They had 4 previous comeback wins down 8 runs since joining the National League, but 13-12, Pittsburgh over Cincinnati.
Yeah, 13-12 final. The Reds are now 281-2 when leading by 9 or more runs over the last 50 seasons. It was a brutal loss in a playoff race, but Houston did lose to Kansas City again. These must-wins are not always easy to win.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, no wins, 315 losses over the last 5 seasons when they trailed by 9 or more runs. And how about that
one? The Reds were up 9-0 after 3 innings, but lost. The last 348 times an MLB team was up 9-0 after 3 innings, they won. So, what about the Padres? They got their winning...
Hold it. Let's just make sure Mal Pal is able to hear this, okay?
Is he here?
He's here.
Hello to Mal Palentina, Danny and Penny, King Turd, and Turd Jr.
Okay, go ahead. Go. You want to talk about the Padres? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's probably fitting that their winning streak, and their playoff hopes come to an end in extra innings. They're 0-12 in extra innings now. They now tie the 1969 Expos for the worst mark in MLB history. Now they're 5 games back, and we have to say at this point that it's
the Padres season is over. So do you think, Andy, the Padres are the most disappointed team?
The Mets.
You think the Mets are more disappointing than the Padres?
I think they're both pretty bad. All right, Turd Jr., watching Star Wars. May the Force be with you.
Okay, go ahead. So the Padres winning streak end with a loss in extra innings. And the Yankees, the biggest problem for the Yankees, it's a team that just does not have what it takes to be a winning team. Their biggest problem, they have the lowest batting average of all major league teams, not including Oakland. Okay, so the Yankees with the worst. Can I have my cup? Thank you. Thank you very much. What? Okay, so
the Marlins are the first National League team to allow 16 or more runs in a game in which their starter did not allow a run since 1915, and I also said that yesterday, so...
Excuse me, okay?
Yeah, excuse you.
We repeat things. I don't remember hearing that yesterday.
With the Dodgers win and the Brewers loss, the Dodgers clinched one of the top two seeds in the National League playoffs. First round bye and Division Series home field advantage. They will open the postseason play October 7th at Dodger Stadium versus opponent to be determined. Now, congratulations to Kershaw.
Oh, it's so good to see Clayton Kershaw perform at this level.
Yeah, well,
he's obviously not able to physically, but so I guess we've seen the end of Clayton Kershaw dominating fantasy baseball, right?
Yeah, but he's still a great fantasy guy, even though he doesn't make it past the fifth inning. Let me tell you what he did yesterday. He passed Hall of Famer Don Drysdale for second place on the Dodgers' all-time win list.
Yep.
So he's now in second for all-time wins.
Yep. And Mookie Betts I'll tell you, Mookie Betts having a great year. He's driven in more runs from the leadoff spot in one season than anybody in Major League Baseball history.
Okay, RBI didn't become a stat until 1920.
Okay, but still,
so
he's driven in 105 runs out of the leadoff spot in a single season.
And Acuna is right on his tail. Clearly, some Dodger fan put this out because and that's exciting. I'm not trying to knock Mookie Betts. Obviously he's driven in more runs from the leadoff spot than any other player, but I bet you by the end of the season, Acuna passes him. Okay, I bet you.
Let's say good morning to Boston Paul and good morning to Laura. Nice to have you both in the chat room. Welcome aboard on what did Danny say?
Danny knows I'm dogging on the Dodgers.
All right, Danny knows you're dogging on the Dodgers.
Alcantara confirms he's not pitching again this season. He has no idea whether or not he'll need surgery. He did say that his forearm still feels tight and that it started bothering him in the third inning of his rehab start. So I don't know what you want to go on and on about Michael Kopech.
Well, I'm sorry, but you...
I already talked about Alcantara.
I think Alcantara has lost the most dollar value of any player in fantasy baseball since the beginning of the year. Now, do you agree with me, or can you think of somebody else who has lost more dollar value? When Alcantara started the season, he was probably an $18 pitcher, maybe even a little bit more. And now that he's down to, what do you think we're going to pay for him next year?
I'm going to still pay for him, especially if he's healthy from surgery. I'll pay $15 for him.
You'll pay $15.
I probably won't have to. I'll pay $10.
You'll pay $10, $15. Okay.
So Malpal said something interesting,
yes,
which I find so interesting.
Okay.
He said that the Yankees are the most disappointing team for him. He said the Padres and the Mets were never that good. They were overhyped. But I have to respond to that. The Mets and the Padres had so many more good players than the Yankees. The Yankees entered the season with crummy pitching. They have so-so offense. None of these players were a huge disappointment for the Yankees. I mean, yeah, Severino was disappointing, but it's not like we're that surprised that Severino was spending a lot of time out again. I just don't know why he thinks that the Padres and the Mets were overhyped, but the Yankees were disappointing to him. I don't think they entered the season that good.
The Yankees just have that name. The Yankees just get hyped just by calling them the Yankees, okay? But the truth is, the Yankees did not have a very good team at all. So, interesting to see that
Church
happen.
says he went from $25 on Alcantara to $0 on Alcantara.
Is there anybody who's going to go against Garrett Cole for the Cy Young Award? Garrett Cole. The odds on Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, George Kirby, Framber Valdez.
Sonny Gray is better pitcher right now than Cole. He's a better pitcher. He finished the season better.
Really?
That's my opinion.
Okay.
I know that Cole strikes out a ton of batters, so that's his upside.
Okay, but Garrett Cole is absolutely a lock for the MVP.
King Turd said, not Sandy. He said he went from $25 on Julio Urias to $0.
Right,
clearly.
Good point.
He didn't say he wasn't talking about Alcantara. What about Danny says, Danny and Leonard Donaldson both say Alcantara $10 max. Well, you're not going to get him because I'll bet 11 then. It depends on Alcantara's surgery situation.
Yes. He's got a lot, but still, he went from among the best pitcher in the major league to a pitcher that some people won't draft next year.
Malpal says he probably overestimated the Yankees, to be honest. But I do know, I agree with Danny, that in his heart, Malpal is disappointed in the Padres. Malpal went to the game last night with his buddy.
Oh, really? What game was that? San Diego against...
The Padres game last night against the Pirates. No, that was the Reds. I can't remember who they played, but...
Okay.
We'll talk about it when we go through the... What about Ellie De La Cruz? We've got Ellie De La Cruz. It's been a tough week for him. I do not appreciate the local media talking about Ellie being a bust. It's a bunch of nonsense, bull dinky, poppycock, and total crud on the bottom of my shoe. Yes, I know he's been disappointing with his errors and stuff, but he was so hyped that anything is going to be disappointing. And yes, he's batting 179 since the All-Star break. He's tied for the major league lead in strikeouts since the All-Star break. He's committed 13 errors. But still, you got to give him a break. He's very young. He played 120 games in the minors last season, not to mention the 24 games that he played in the Dominican Winter League. At this time last season, De La Cruz had already hung up his cleats with Double-A because their season ended on September 17th. Yesterday, De La Cruz was back in the lineup and playing shortstop, batting second. And just to reiterate, this is the 91st game that he's played in the big leagues this season and his 129th. So it feels like the media is turning on him because he's not living up to their expectations, but he's a 21-year-old rookie. He's bound to experience ups and downs. What do you think of Ellie? Is he getting pummeled by the media for no good reason?
Well, they're hoping that he gets back to the fun-loving, high-powered, electric ball player that we all saw. But he was one of the most exciting players who took Cincinnati from a bottom-level team, and he propelled them. The Reds the Reds were still in striking distance for the final wild card spot, and he created the atmosphere. So that we talk a lot about the clubhouse. We talk a lot about the mentality of baseball.
Well, the Reds are still possibly in the mix for a playoff spot. Mm-hmm. I know they're not going to make it very far, even if they do get in the playoffs. But who could actually honestly say that De La Cruz isn't a huge part of where they are, at least competing for a spot in the postseason? Because the team, I swear he's a leader of the team already. They love watching him. The other players love having him around. He's exciting. He's energetic. He steals bases, and he's fun.
And what do you think Ellie De La Cruz is going to go for next year?
Probably too much.
Yeah, he's a good player for next year. He's going to steal bases. He's going to hit some home runs. And you're probably right. I do believe that you're not going to be able to get Ellie De La Cruz for less than $20. I think he's going to
He's
go.
worth that, right?
Well, he's going to go over the 20. It depends on which Ellie De La Cruz you're talking about.
What if they figure out he can't play shortstop that good? Where do they put him?
Well, he could play short. He could play third. He could play the outfield.
Yeah,
So
if you can play short, you can pretty much play anywhere, right?
He'll play. But the point is that he has become a tremendous player. And as we take a look at the games now, okay, you talk about tremendous players.
The chat room says Ellie 19-22, and Malpal says that Matt McClain might be better than Ellie.
You're absolutely
I
right.
don't think
Cincinnati's got a ton of players that have really emerged. This
so your
season.
friend Joey Adele homered.
He homered. Joey Adele homered, and you talked about Sonny Gray. Did you talk about him?
A little bit when I compared him to Garrett Cole.
Yeah, he got outpitched yesterday, and the Angels beat the Twins 1-0. A day after
Rosenberg outpitched Sonny Gray.
I don't know much about this Rosenberg.
He's a 28-year-old left-hander making his fourth big league start, which says a lot, okay, and his ninth appearance. He allowed 5 hits and 2 walks in 5 innings with 5 strikeouts. Carlos Estevez got his 31st save in 35 chances, but Gray allowed a 4th-inning homer to Joey Adele on a first-pitch sinker. That was just the 8th home run off Gray this whole season. He gave up 4 hits in 6 innings and struck out 8. His ERA is now 2.80. He's second in the American League to Garrett Cole at 2.75, but I guarantee he's given up less home runs.
Yep.
I just think he's better.
Well, he has.
I don't like Cole, so I'm so biased, dude.
He has one more start. He's pitched 180 innings. That's the most pitches since he threw 208 in 2015. I'm so off today.
I know. What's your problem?
I couldn't believe. Well, what's my problem?
I did let Lenny sleep.
I fell asleep before the show, and I woke up just as it was time to go on, and I don't know where I am.
He's ready for bed.
But anyway, Sonny Gray is the 8th pitcher since 2000 to throw at least 180 innings with 8 or fewer home runs allowed. He has turned into be a terrific pitcher, okay? And Joey Adele. Now, do you think, Andy, there's going to be any chance? Now, Adele had a long home run to center field, 3rd homer of the season. He also made a leaping catch in front of the wall to rob Michael Taylor in the 6th inning. You saw Adele. I saw Adele. We've been following him since the Arizona Fall League. Is there any chance of Joey Adele becoming the star? You have to wait for me to answer to ask the question. You say no, okay?
I'm good at saying no.
All right, Lenny's been what?
Exercising. Using your little desk peddler.
Any chance Joey Adele becoming a star?
No.
Okay.
Los Angeles assured of its 8th straight losing season. They won just for the 2nd time in 9 games. Several of the Twins regulars were out of the lineups. That's because the Minnesota Twins clinched the American League Central for the 3rd time in 5 seasons, and they will likely be the number 3 seed for the postseason.
Yep.
Now, there is a small chance that the Twins could catch the American League West leader for the number 2 seed, but they're pretty much saying we're resting our good guys because we're in. That's it. Nolan Shanuel singled in the 8th inning.
This guy has really. He came on the scene and he's been discussed every single day, every day. Go ahead. Whatever you're saying about him, okay?
You didn't let me finish. He extended his streak of reaching base at the start of his big league career to 26 games. He was the 11th overall pick this year's amateur draft.
So he was the 11th pick in the amateur draft
this year,
and he's playing. How about that? That's amazing.
Rendon has a bruised left shin and
guess what? He won't be playing. He won't return this season. Is anybody surprised? Has Rendon been the biggest disappointment?
No, nobody believed in him.
Well, come on, man. Has he been the biggest disappointment pound for pound?
In the past 5 years, maybe, but nobody believed in him this year. So
I did.
What'd you do? You drafted him?
Yes, I did. I drafted him, and I thought he'd be pretty good. So, yep. But anyway. No.
How about Tonight you get to see Joe Ryan against, it was supposed to be Tyler Anderson, but Nevin says he didn't announce a replacement yet.
Right.
The Cubs are pushing for an NL wild card. Javier Assad just wants to help in any way he can. And Miles Mastrobuoni.
Good one.
Is that how you say it?
No, it's masturbating. Buoni.
Why am I not surprised at you?
All
right. They beat the Rockies 6-3.
Who beat them?
The Cubbies.
Who were the two Cubbies that beat them?
Assad and Mastrobuoni.
Okay.
You're like in third grade. I mean, maybe sixth grade for a boy. Okay. All right. Assad pitched 4 scoreless innings in relief of Marcus Stroman, and Mastrobuoni had 2 hits and scored 2 runs. Cody Bellinger hit a tie-breaking sacrifice fly, and Chicago earned its second straight win after a stretch of 7 losses in 8 games. They moved within a half a game for the second NL wild card with Arizona and ensured sole possession of the 3rd spot at least for another day. They don't know for sure. Now, Colorado wasted a solid performance by your boy, Chris Flexen.
He did pitch a good, and look, he's pitching in Colorado now, but still, he pitched pretty good. And you know what? A player that's going to become a fantasy star, he already is. Ezekiel Tovar, 3 hits for the Rockies. And I'll tell you, Ezekiel Tovar is a fantasy star.
Good morning, King Hap.
Where's King Hap?
He's
King
here.
Hap is fine.
Laura's here. Mary.
How about that? King Hap is in the chat room. James Caprion in the chat room. And got to thank James for calling me the other day.
And don't forget to go find the Happy Hour Social Club on Twitch. These guys are great friends of the chat room.
I love wearing their shirts. I love it.
Okay, the Happy Hour Social Club clothing line is Lenny's go-to favorite. It's comfortable, it fits him good, and we just love it. Now, nobody
fits me better than any shirt that any t-shirts that I have.
I've never seen anybody more giving of free swag than the Happy Hour Social Club. They have a great group of listeners.
Yep.
Every single Wednesday and Thursday night. King Hap did an extra interview this past week during the day, so go check them out. I'm sure you can see on demand, but just get to know these friends. They're Boston.
Yep, and King Hap, I'm going to need you again, so give me a holler when you
get a
chance.
Can you please quit harassing him? We don't need you yet.
Ezekiel Tovar, 3 hits. Colorado dropped to the Major League's worst record on the road. 22-58. So there you go.
Christopher Morel led off the 8th inning with his 25th homer.
That's amazing. He appeared late. He really skyrocketed, and then where's he been? Okay, he hasn't been doing anything. But Marcus Stroman pitched 3 innings of 3-run ball. He was sidelined with hip inflammation and a right rib cartilage fracture. But he made 2 relief appearances since he was activated September 15th. So it's going to be interesting.
Marcus, did you talk about Stroman?
Briefly.
3 innings, 3 runs, first start since July 31st. Assad, who was moved to the bullpen to make room for Stroman, he came in after Stroman, allowed 2 hits, struck out 6, and walked none. Jose Cuas, C-U-A-S, second big league save. Now, tonight you get to see Ty Black and Jordan Wicks.
Okay.
Now, Bryce Harper. How much you paying for Bryce Harper? I am going to have him on every team.
I don't think he's...
That's why I'm getting him.
I think Bryce Harper has, leveled off.
No.
I'll use the word for Bryce Harper. Vanilla. He has become...
Bull dinky.
Yeah, he's become a vanilla player.
Bull dinky.
Okay?
He's not vanilla.
Well, he hit 20 home runs for the 9th time. So that makes him a player, but that's vanilla. That's nothing.
I know, but he missed most of the season, Leonard.
That's all right.
Give him a break. I'm taking him. I hope everybody else feels the same way about Harper as you.
Bryce Harper, to me, is vanilla.
Boston Paul says 45 for me. I know you bitches.
Yeah.
You're going to try to goad me into spending more money than I need to, but I'm getting him.
But the Phillies beat the Mets 7-5 for their 4th straight win, and they are the team that I believe is going to be in the World Series.
Alec Boehm is a player.
Alec Boehm is
people going to pay more for
player.
Boehm than Harper?
That's a good question.
He homered again. The Phillies opened a 4-game lead over Arizona for the top wild card. Now, Philly would clinch a playoff berth today with a win and a loss by either the Cubs or the Marlins. The Phillies have not reached...
Say that again, please. Slow down.
Philly would clinch a playoff berth today with a win and a loss by either the Cubbies or the Marlins. Now, the Phillies have not reached the playoffs in successive seasons since a 5-year stretch from 2007 to 2011. Right. Zach Wheeler improved to 4-0 in his last 6 starts, allowing 5 runs, 3 earned, and 8 hits in 7 innings. And I'm taking Wheeler as one of my anchors again.
Oh, he has been for me for 2 years.
3.
3 for me?
Yeah, at least.
Well, he's been that way, and that's just another good player that the Mets gave away. Okay, let's go on to...
Jose Alvarado, 10th save and 12 chances, and Quintana gave up 6 runs, 5 earned.
He is awful.
8 hits.
Awful, Quintana. Awful. He will not be a Met next year.
Well, he struck out a season-high 10 yesterday.
That's bull dinky. He's not good.
Forget
I'll
it.
tell you what.
You're driving me crazy.
Gregory Soto struck out Mark Vientos with 2 men on to end the 8th.
Who gives a shit?
Alvarado pitched a perfect 9th. For his 10th save and 12 chances.
Now, let me tell you that Harper's home run gave the Phillies 5 players with 20 or more home runs for the 3rd time after 2007 and 2009.
Yeah.
Boehm could make it their first season with 6 if he gets another couple home runs. Tonight is Jose Butto.
Or
Butto.
I don't know. Whatever he is.
Against Christopher Sanchez.
How are we doing in the chat room? Everybody doing good. Thank you all for being here and supporting us.
Harper is hitting...
Wait a second. Let me say hello to Merrill and Mitchell and James Caplion and Dancer Premier. All you guys are here. Boston Paul. Everybody's here. Thank you so much.
King Turd points out that Harper is hitting .346 with 15 homers since August 1st.
Okay, that's a good point. But he's still had a vanilla season.
Oh, give me a break, Boston Paul.
All right,
He's trying to tell me to let you finish before I comment.
Go ahead. Go ahead. He's trying to trap me. All right.
Joe Boyle, right?
Who's Joe Boyle?
Doug's brother.
No, goodbye. Don't even start that, okay? He had 5 strikeouts in 6 innings. First career win. Esteury Ruiz hit a 2-run home run, and Oakland beat Detroit 4-1 in a game that nobody really cares about. So.
Boyle earned the win, 1 run on 5 hits and 1 walk in 6 innings. Mm-hmm. All right, he struck out 5. Now, he's still very young, 24-year-old righty. He's yet to surrender an earned run across his first 2 outings, so Joe Boyle could be somebody to pay attention to. Look at his underlying stats, his ground ball rate, his strikeout rate, and decide if he could be a breakout pitcher next year. Trevor May...
He's going to be a good closer next year. Trevor May is going to be an undervalued closer next year. He got, the final 4 outs? And he even was in a bases loaded situation in the 8th, got out of that. He has 20 saves on the season, and he's 34 years old. So I think May is going to be an excellent pickup.
It was his 34th birthday yesterday. He reached his career best 20th save. The last place Athletics have won back-to-back game for the first time since September 11th and 12th and remain 1 loss shy of tying the team's Oakland-era record for the most losses in a season, which was 108 in 1979. Miggy was given the day off. Kerry Carpenter...
Wait a second. Why was Miggy given the day off? I can't stand this.
What?
It's his last year, and he got a day off, okay?
Maybe he was tired, Leonard.
Oh, cut it out. He's a DH. How tired can you be?
I don't care, okay?
I mean,
why Miggy had the day off.
The day off.
There's no other ballpark in the majors where Luis Robert Jr.'s 311-foot line drive would have been a home run, but it was.
He is just having a fantastic season So
both Cease and Nick Pivetta they both lasted 7 innings yesterday.
yeah,
Brian Shaw got his 3rd save, and Masataka Yoshida had 3 hits.
3 hits.
But Boston stranded 10 runners. They went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
The last place Red Sox...
Oh, say that again?
They left...
No, say that again. The what?
The last place...
Red Sox.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say that for King Hap.
No, he knows.
The last place Red Sox. Go ahead. They're trying to finish above 500. Right?
And catch the Yankees and avoid... Neither one of these teams want to finish last in the AL East,
right.
Okay? But it would be the 3rd time in 4 seasons for the Red Sox if they did. Chicago, which is all but locked into 4th place in the AL Central, snapped a 3-game losing streak and won for just the 4th time in the last 12 games. Now, Pivetta allowed 3 hits and a walk. He struck out 7
he's
scoreless
a good pitcher
innings.
For next year. He'll be like a $3 or $4.
He's not a great pitcher, Leonard.
As your number 4 guy, he's not a bad pitcher.
Dylan Cease pitched 7 scoreless, 6 hits. It was his 17th double-digit career strikeout game and his 4th this season.
I think
he's got 207 strikeouts for the season.
Yeah, these are both low-level pitchers.
But he's done 200 strikeouts for 3 straight seasons, and he's the only one to join Chris Sale, who did it 4 times from 2013 to 2016.
So next year, you got Pivetta, you got Cease, and you got Sale. Who are you taking first? Pivetta, Cease, or Sale?
Dylan Cease.
You're taking Dylan Cease over Chris Sale.
But I don't like any of those.
Right?
But if I have to choose one...
You have a choice of 3.
I picked him.
You said you don't like any of them.
Well,
that's not a choice of 3.
Dylan Cease.
Dylan Cease, okay. Kenley Jansen was reinstated from the COVID-19 injuries, and he was optioned. He's done.
He wasn't optioned.
He's done for the season.
No, he's not.
He's not going to pitch anymore.
Why?
Kenley Jansen.
Why?
Because he's not.
Why? They reinstated him.
What team is he on?
Red Sox.
He's not pitching anymore.
The Red Sox are trying to battle the Yankees for not finishing in last place. They reinstated him and sent another guy down.
I'll bet you that Kenley Jansen does not get a save opportunity.
I'm betting you Peter Luger steak dinner.
For what?
Kenley Jansen pitches again, probably today.
But what happens if I win the bet?
You can have steak dinner.
I don't want steak dinner. I want a different kind of dinner, all right? What kind of dinner do I get?
Bell peppers and tomatoes.
Bell peppers and tomatoes. Let's talk about a player who has emerged this season, has become really a fan favorite.
Big Al. Big Al is here.
Oh, Big Al is here. Good morning to the Big Al, who's put the chat room at a nice level this morning. Thank you very much, Big Al. Way to go.
Now, Jake Berger hit a 3-run homer.
Jake Berger.
The Marlins scored the tie-breaking run in the 8th, and Miami beat Milwaukee 5-4 to stay within a game of the Cubbies for the 3rd National League wildcard spot and prevent the Brewers from clinching the National League Central.
Jake Berger.
Luis Arias went 1 for 5. He's got a
Jake Berger was not drafted by anybody, right?
Yes, he was.
You think Jake Berger was drafted?
Yes, I do.
Jake Berger drafted? Did anybody in this chat room draft Jake Berger?
I can tell you what his ADP was.
Go ahead. Let's see. Very high, I'll bet.
Jake Berger.
Yeah.
ADP was 590.
590. Not drafted by anybody. God, Luis Arias was drafted.
I told you, he's batting .353.
Yep, and Carlos Santana hit his 300th home run. Christian Yelich had a career hit, 1,500 for Milwaukee.
Tanner Scott, 10th save. The Brewers erased a 4-0 deficit with the 4-run 6th inning. And Jesus Luzardo, 3 hits, struck out 4, and walked 3 in 5 innings. And now, Woodruff...
Wait a second. Etch this in your kitchen table. Write it down. He's going to be a perfect, cheap closer, Tanner Scott, next year. You're going to get Tanner Scott. Everybody got that? we're going to have a chat room next year where everybody in the chat room is going to have Tanner Scott on at least one of their leagues. What's the matter?
Brandon Woodruff was lifted after 5 innings. He gave up 4 runs, 6 hits, struck out 6, walked 2. Now, tonight you get to see Freddie Peralta against Edward Cabrera. Josh Lowe hit a 3-run homer and a walk-off single that capped a 2-run 9th inning, which lifted Tampa Bay over the Blue Jays 7-6 after the Rays wasted a 5-run lead.
Well, hold on a second. So I'm sleeping and I had the radio on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I find myself wide awake listening to the game when Junior Caminero made his big league debut at age 20. And it was, I don't really listen to the games at all, but I listened to this. Junior Caminero made his big league debut at 20 years old. He beat out what would have been an inning double play grounder.
He went 1 for 4.
Yeah.
Jordan Romano blew a save for the 4th time in 40 chances.
He's had a great season, and I remember arguing with somebody, I think it was Eddie Heckman, about the merits of Jordan Romano at the beginning of the season.
Now, Yandy Diaz had 4 hits, also a home run, and Josh Lowe, Christian Bethancourt also homered. The Rays assured themselves no worse than the top American League wild card. They are 1.5 games behind Baltimore still. It was the Rays' Major League best 11th walk-off win this season. Toronto holds the second American League wild card, 1 game ahead of Houston and 2 games in front of Seattle. Fairbanks has blown 4 of 28 save chances.
He's had a good season. He's had a very good season, but
The Rays reached 1.4 million in home attendance for the first time since 2014. They're building a new park, too, right down by their spring training.
Right. They had about 23,000 last year. Okay? Go.
Randy Rosarina didn't play. He's day-to-day, and Robert Stevenson was not available. He's day-to-day. Tonight, guess who you get to see pitch tonight?
Kikuchi goes against Taj Bradley tonight. They are announced as the Sunday starters.
Now, John Means carried a no-hit bid into the 7th inning. Anthony Santander drove in a pair of runs. They sent the American League East leading Baltimore Orioles over the Guardians 2-1, John Means, he was making his 3rd start in 17 months. He allowed 3 base runners in 7 1/3. He walked 1 and hit a batter, but he threw a season-high 96 pitches and struck out 4 after going 5 innings in each of his last 2 outings. So Baltimore clinched their first postseason berth since 2016. I told you earlier they are maintaining a 1.5 game lead over Tampa Bay in the division for the best record in the American League, and the Orioles have 7 games remaining and hold the tiebreaker over the Rays.
That's right, and you changed the What?
I already read all of that.
I'm not doing that.
What are you doing?
I'm telling you.
Santander?
You changed your pronunciation.
That's because that's how you say it.
How do you? Okay.
Santander.
Okay, go ahead.
That's what they want you to say.
And your boy Cal...
Sional or... Go ahead.
No, I'm just sitting here looking at you. Go ahead. Cal Quantrill. 1 run, 5 hits, a season high, 4 walks. He struck out 3. He's a 1.95 ERA in September. He's a pretty good number 3 and number 4 pitcher next year that you'll be able to get pretty cheap, okay? The loss guaranteed that... by the way, he has a 1.95 ERA in 5 September starts. So, Quantrill, not a bad pitcher. Not a bad pitcher. And the loss actually guaranteed that Cleveland will finish the season with a losing record for the 2nd time. And Francona, who's managed 11 years, I think this is the end of the reign of Francona.
Tito and Jeter Luna are here.
Oh, they are. That's very good. Nice to see you both. Good to see Tito Luna, Jeter Luna, and the entire gang. So thank you. Thank you all for coming by. Okay, go ahead. Shane Bieber's going to be traded. His appearance yesterday was the last home appearance for Bieber. He may be traded. the 2020 American League Cy Young Award
and also
winner.
Francona's last game because he's done.
Which I just mentioned. Okay. Felix Bautista, by the way, where are you going?
I'm going to get coffee.
Oh, just pick yourself up and go. Felix Bautista threw a... All right, that's it. We're done. What do you mean?
Why don't you just read the note? What are you doing?
Felix Bautista pitched a bullpen session, okay? And he could... I don't think he's going to be back this season, so don't count on him.
Kyle Gibson and Tristan McKenzie tonight.
All right, this is a very lackluster show, and it could have been because I fell asleep. But the surprise, Cincinnati Reds, their bullpen has been awful. Absolutely. They dropped 2.5 games back for the National League's last wild card berth. They opened a 9-0 lead with 3 runs in the first inning. The Reds attempted, they couldn't do anything. They've lost 4 straight. They squandered a 9-run lead for the first time since they beat the Milwaukee back in 2004, and it's just been awful. Christian Encarnacion Strand, Tyler Stevenson, TJ Friedel, all homered, but still, this is a good young team. It's just not their year, and nobody should be surprised.
Each team had 16 hits, and Jose Hernandez got his first major league win. And the bullpen for Cincinnati has an 8.33 ERA in the last 3 games, allowing 34 hits, 25 earned runs, 6 homers, and 14 walks in 27 innings.
I think one of the biggest surprises of the season has to be that Brian Reynolds, who hit a 3-run homer against Alex Young, is still on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Did anybody think that Brian Reynolds was not going to be traded? He was rumored to go everywhere. And Brian Reynolds is still on this team. By the way, Harrison Bader is having hernia surgery. He's been shuffled around pretty good. I think he's a good player. Is he draftable next year? Probably not. Let's see what team he winds up on, but Harrison Bader is having some surgery.
Jordan Montgomery settling in nicely with Texas Rangers. The Rangers have a lot of positive momentums with 8 games left in the regular season. We already told you what Montgomery did. He threw 7 scoreless innings for the second time in the last 3 starts. Jonah Heim drove in another run. The Rangers beat the Mariners 2-0, extending their division lead after Houston lost again. Texas won its 4th game in a row, including the first 2 games, and the Rangers took over the American League West lead for the first time in September, the day before. So Montgomery struck out 6, walked 2, 5 hits allowed. He's 4-2 in his 10 starts for the Rangers. Leclerc and Chapman finished off the Rangers' 12th shutout this season. Chapman got his 6th save in 11 chances. And Logan Gilbert allowed 2 runs on 5 hits over 5 2/3 with 2 strikeouts and 4 walks.
And Chapman got his 6th save in 11 chances. I'm very surprised that Jose Leclerc did not have a better season. I thought he would be a closer. I picked him as a closer, but he didn't do it. So
Adolis Garcia scored both the runs. It was his 5th game back from after he missed 10 games with a strain. And Heim, 92nd RBI of the season, and his 15th over the last 11 games.
92 RBIs.
King Turd's a big fan of this guy.
Well, I don't think... all right, King Turd, you're a big fan.
And he likes his defense, too.
But did you draft Jonah Heim? Did you draft... I know I did. I took him probably in the reserve round.
Yes. You drafted him way before that.
Oh, yeah, I drafted him. I don't know if anybody else did.
Texas is 7-1 against the Mariners, clinching the season series and the tiebreaker if needed with 5 games to go between them. And Julio Rodriguez took sole possession of the American League lead with his 177th hit, breaking a tie with Rangers leadoff hitter Marcus Semien, who went 0 for 4. Rodriguez finished 1 for 4, but he's only hitting .125 against the Rangers this season. Tonight you get to see Eovaldi against Brian Wu.
Brian Wu! Kansas City and Houston, Jordan Lyles gave up just 2 hits in 5 innings. Brandon Witt drove... Bobby Witt. Who's Brandon Witt? Bobby Witt drove in his 93rd run. All right, how much is he going for?
A lot.
What, 32?
The Royals are playing good right now.
$32, $33 Bobby Witt? Do you think it's going that high? Do you think it's going higher?
35.
Houston has
40.
lost 4 of its last 5 games. But the Astros maintain their half-game lead for their final American League wildcard spot over Seattle with 7 days to go.
The Royals have won 9 of their last 10 games for the first time since 2017. The win also clinched a 4th straight series win for the first time since 19. Lyles held the Astros to just 1 hit through the first 4 innings, struck out 3, walked 2. It was his best start since July 17th.
And how many losses does he have?
5 and 17.
5 and 17. Now, Roger Craig once said, to lose 20 games, that makes you a terrific pitcher.
Now,
why? Because if they keep you in there, they keep you going. To lose 20 games or 17 in Lyle's case, somebody thinks you're pretty good to keep you in the rotation.
Or they don't have anybody else.
That they could put anybody for a pitcher who's lost 17 games, but they don't because they think he's pretty good.
Kansas City leads the American League in sacrifice flies this season.
Oh, I could have told you that.
They're only second behind the Dodgers, who have 66.
Yeah, I pay attention to that because I've learned never to sacrifice my fly anymore. All right, next, go ahead.
Chas McCormick he homered for the 2nd straight game. And the Astros surpassed 3 million fans for the 5th time in franchise history with 41,692 fans in attendance. Salvador Perez is likely to return to the lineup today, and Michael Brantley was out of the lineup for a 5th straight game with right shoulder soreness, and Hunter Brown goes against we don't know because the Royals don't have a starter left.
We'll see. What about St. Louis and San Diego? 2 teams that, could anybody think that there'd be so many contenders in the National League Central and St. Louis would not be one of them? Unbelievable. There are 4 contenders and St. Louis is not one of them in the Central Division?
But they beat the Padres.
Wow.
They beat the Padres.
All right. Still, it was a game that meant absolutely nothing.
Well, it meant something to the Padres.
Why?
Because they had won 8 in a row or something like that.
And they opened this season with the 3rd highest payroll. They dropped 5 games behind the Cubs for the last
and
wild card.
Who has more payroll than them? The Yankees and the Mets?
Yes.
That's it.
That's it.
So all 3 highest payrolls aren't going to get to the playoffs.
In bad shape. That makes Major League Baseball the most exciting sport in the land. I don't get the love for football. I love football. I played football. I've been a Giant fan since Frank Gifford, Alex Webster, Mel Triplett, Charlie Connolly, the whole deal, but I don't get it. Don't get it. Go ahead.
King Turd brings up a good point about Bobby Witt Jr. If you're playing in on-base percentage leagues, apparently his on-base percentage is not that great.
Okay. And that's a big deal.
295 last year.
Oh,
Malpel says it's 317 this year, so it's better.
It's better, but it's not Sosa.
No.
It's not
Abreu.
And it's not Abreu. Go ahead.
All right. San Diego opened the season with baseball's 3rd highest payroll. They're dropped 5 games behind the Cubbies now. Casey Lawrence, a 35-year-old right-hander, pitched 2 hitless innings for his first Major League win since 2018. 7 pitchers combined on 6 hits, holding the Padres to 1 for 17 with runners in scoring position. St. Louis pitchers walked 12 and Padres pitchers walked 7, but my boy, Macho Manny, RBI single. Ryan Helsley blew a save for the 5th time in 17 chances, and Padres starter Nick Martinez allowed 2 hits in 4 scoreless innings. Jake Woodford gave up 1 run and 4 hits in 3 2/3, and tonight you get to see Drew Rom against Michael Wacha.
Thank you all for being in the chat room. Our final game is Clayton
Malpel
Kershaw.
says as long as the Padres continue to roll with Preller, they'll have a 12% chance of a good team.
That's right, with 12%.
So pitching on 6 days rest. Sorry, Malpal what?
Malpal figured that out all by himself.
He made it up.
12%. Go ahead.
Danny doesn't like my friend Macho Manny.
Oh, really? How about Clayton Kershaw?
That's because he crushes Dodgers.
How about Kershaw? Struck out 5, walked 2. He won his 210th game. He broke a tie with Don Drysdale, number 53 for the Dodgers. Do you know about the time that Drysdale and Koufax both went in to negotiate their contract together?
No, I don't.
Yeah, they walked in and they went to negotiate their contracts together.
Did they get a good contract?
Yeah, they got $100,000. I think they got pretty much what they wanted.
All right, so Kershaw pitching on 6 days rest. His velocity doesn't match his prime years, but he's 35 years old, 2-hit ball over 5 innings. Mookie Betts hit a 2-run double that set a record. We already talked about that. And the Dodgers beat the Giants 7-0. They lost the first 2 games, though, of that, by the way. Kershaw struck out 5 and walked 2. It was his 210th game.
Right.
Kershaw will pitch on 6 days rest again next Saturday when the Dodgers are back in San Francisco. He had not gone beyond 5 innings in any of his last 7 starts.
Right.
But since coming off the injured list in those 7 starts, he has a 2.03 ERA with 27 strikeouts and 14 walks.
We talked about J.D. Martinez, 31st home run, added a 2-run double. The Dodgers could have 3 players with 100 RBIs for the first time since moving to L.A. back in 1958. Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, and of course...
Martinez and Freeman haven't reached it yet, but they're approaching with 7 games remaining.
Right.
Freeman got his major league leading 57th double of the season, and he's 3 away from the first 60 double season since 1936. He singled in the 7th for his career-high 203rd hit, and then stole his 22nd base in 23 attempts. What do you think of Freeman? I love Freeman.
Freddie Freeman is...
he's a great family man, too.
He's an underrated player.
So is Kershaw.
For what he does.
Kershaw and Freeman, 2 family men. They're both family men.
Kershaw's a Hall of Famer if he stops playing tomorrow. Kershaw, anybody want to disagree with that? Clayton Kershaw is a Hall of Famer, and that's why I take a look at fantasy baseball drafts to determine Hall of Fame status. When you're the first pitcher chosen every year for what, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're the guy.
He should retire.
He will retire. This is a big year for Kershaw, okay? It's also a big year. San Francisco lost 7 out of 9. They were outscored 57-32 on this road trip. It was One
brutal. Game remaining on its trip, San Francisco.
All right, good job.
They lost 7 of 9, and they've been outscored 57-32 on the road trip.
I will admit I was not at my best today, so thank you for carrying the show, and we'll be back.
Even though you quit on me in the middle?
I didn't quit.
You said we're done.
We're done. I didn't mean for the show.
Is that
I'm
quitting?
talking about
our relationship.
Our relationship. It's done. Lance Lynn starts today for the Dodgers. All right. Anybody want to comment, say anything? Put the phone number in the chat room.
Do any of you talk to your significant others like we do?
No.
I bet they all do, Lynn.
Here's the chat room phone number if you want to call and intervene. And, okay, Tommy, the rumors of...
I hope he does go back to Texas. That's where he lives.
Here's the phone number. It's time for a Sunday call. 406...
That's our home phone.
Okay, everybody. Kershaw, definitely.
Take a nap, Lenny. That's from James K.
There you go, James K.
Danny and Penny and King Turd Jr. Watching Star Wars.
Okay, Big Al.
Penny.
Boston Paul. Dad's the Premier. Danny Fuller. James Capleon, King Hap, Laura,
Mal Palentina,
Leonard Donaldson, Mal Palentina, Rotorius, Smoking King Turd, Tito Luna with Jeter Luna and all the lunatics, Tommy Johnson, Triple Play, and away we go. White Sox out.
Kenny says hello to us.
Who? Oh, Penny?
Well,
Okay, great
Malpel
work.
says he doubt he will be unanimous because some writers will nitpick his lack of wins. But didn't he just tie for the most wins?
Yeah, with Don
He's
Georgia.
second in wins.
Come on. Clayton Kershaw is a Hall of Famer, and I will say without a doubt. Thanks, everybody. Great job by the chat room, keeping us going. Believe it or not, the chat room gives us energy. It's like going to the gas. It gives us energy, and we thank you for that. Boston Paul, we thank you.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everybody, at 9 o'clock.